As you know, if you've ever watched this show, which America loves, I don't know if you've heard, I love your brother. Let's start with this. What do you make? It is weird. You talk retirement a bunch. I'm sitting there, forget me, the consumer. Yep. I'm sitting there as a GM thinking, brother, I ain't giving up 4 first rounds for a guy that's on the fence.
I get
it. It is something, isn't it?
Oh, very much something. And I think what it is at this point in any quarterback's career, as you get towards the end, especially guys that have as much success as Aaron has had, you get to the point where you want a chance to win a Super Bowl. Now, They've gone 3 straight years where they've won 13 games, and they have nothing to show for it. They have a frustrated quarterback and basically a frustrated fan base with that quarterback. You saw him when he was leaving the field at Lambeau the other day. He kind of just did the little wave, see you guys maybe later, maybe I won't. And they didn't care. I've talked to Packer fans that work in our studio at the NFL Network that have been long-time Packer fans, and they're fine with it. You know, I've talked about the different scenarios, what might happen. So you have a great point, because you got to make sure Aaron is all in, and how you do that is you got to be Super Bowl ready if you're one of those teams. So like, there's not a lot of teams that fit that billing that are Super Bowl ready that just need Aaron Rodgers to get over the hump, and then. Man, that's a whole nother level, because now you're talking like what you were talking about is 4 first-round picks. I mean, think about that. That's your entire future. And what if Aaron decides that he wants to try Jeopardy again? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know, so that's a real concern for sure.
So we talked about this yesterday, and I've always been a Derek fan, your brother Derek Carr. And I've said this before. To me, he's been the life preserver of a chaotic mess for about the last 7 years. So when I hear criticism, I'm like, I think you guys got the wrong, you're pointing the finger in the wrong direction. I thought he had a great year, and he wants Rich Bisaccia to be the coach. I totally get that. But I also worry, David, there's been a lot of interim guys that have worked, some that haven't, some like Wayne Fonts that have been good, not great. Mike Tice, Minnesota, they've been fine. So there is no absolute here. But Derek is so emotional, and he was in so many emotional games late. I do worry about falling in love with the proximity of the current coach. And what if there's somebody out there? I don't know if you've talked to him about this. What is best for your brother? What would you do if you own the Raiders?
Man, that's complicated. That's a great question, because when you look at it, and this is it's similar to what Aaron's going through, although Derek's in a completely different world. He played in his first playoff game. There is a sense as a veteran quarterback, and Derek, and talking to him, man, he went through an emotional roller coaster. They did about as good as you could do this year with what they were given, and they made it work. They're not that far away. If you could add a couple pieces, we all know one of his best friends is Devontae Adams, and he possibly could not be franchise tagged, and we could see what happens there. But honestly, and this is not coming from Derek, this is coming from a NFL Network analyst, a guy that jumps on Colin's show and talks about football, talks about it with his friends. There has to be a commitment from the organization that they're going to give him what he needs to succeed. He only wants to win a Super Bowl. He's not here for the money. He's talked about hanging it up when John retired. And all of that stuff is, I want to win. That's it. At the end of the day, I want to win football games. He'd love to do it in Las Vegas, but he wants a chance to do it. He knows that there are pieces that you can put in place here. They're as close as they've ever been. They're right on the cusp. They got in the playoffs. They played against a team that's in the AFC Championship, in their stadium, battled down to the wire. They're right there. They need some pieces. They need to see from the Raiders that there's commitment there. We talk about it a lot with the Raiders. We talk about commitment to excellence. Al Davis preached it. That needs to happen because I can't guarantee that Derek is going to want to sign up for that if it's going to be the same thing that he's done over the last 7 or 8 years. I can't guarantee that, knowing my brother. Now, he hasn't said anything to me. I just have conversations openly, talk candidly about it, about their situation, about who they could bring in. And it's not that I see him at a point where he doesn't believe that they'll do it. He just really wants to see who the new GM is going to be.
Yes.
Why he picks Rich, why he likes Rich is because he knows who Rich is.
Yeah.
Rich and him have great conversations, and he likes the fact that he was with him through all that chaos, through the nonsense of that last year, and they were able to do something productive. So you can take Rich and let him be the figurehead. You can keep Gus, keep a lot of those guys he brought over from the Chargers. Think about a lot of the free agents they have. Casey Hayward ain't going to stay there if Gus Bradley's not there. There's a lot of guys that aren't going to stay there if Gus is not there. So that's a revamped defense. That's a whole new look. What happens on the offensive side? We know that they struggle a little bit on the right tackle, right guardish side. Alex Leatherwood moved from tackle to guard. A lot of things have to be fixed, right? So there's a lot of decisions that have to be made. And, Mark Davis isn't the only one that has to make them.
It's very thoughtful answer. David, we always knew quarterback mattered in this league.
Yeah.
But the best quarterback won every division. Every division. Yep. In the NFC, every playoff team had an offensive coach. And you got to look at this sometimes and think, man, I was born a little early on this stuff, because it is
all the time.
And I look at this, but it is interesting as I watched the Bills and the Chiefs and marveled at it. I thought, if Belichick and Sean McDermott can't stop anybody, is there an argument to be made we don't want to become the CFL, and that we want to,
right.
The NFL's done a very good job, David, you know this, of pivoting rules all the time. Do you feel that a little bit now, it maybe needs to be tweaked a little more back the other way?
I completely see where you're coming from, because we all sat there, and when Josh Allen called tails and they lost the toss, we all knew what was going to happen. You pretty much knew. Well, and Josh, even, you look at him on the sideline, sitting on that warm bench, he knew. He'd seen his face. He's just sitting back like, we can't stop him, So, you can say play better defense. You're playing against space aliens. These quarterbacks aren't real life. Like these are two of the most impressive performances that we've ever seen in a playoff run. I mean, Josh Allen had 12 incomplete passes and 9 touchdowns in the playoffs, and he's at home. So, I mean, that's crazy to me. So when you say, do you have to tweak it? You might. I mean, even Andy Reid, at least Andy Reid said, maybe Josh Allen should have got the ball. Maybe he should have got a chance there. Said that yesterday. So I think that we're at a point where the rules are so geared towards the offense. I mean, if you just breathe on the quarterback, we saw Brady lose his mind for Von Miller just barely glanced. I can show you a highlight reel of me getting whacked. I think I'm owed at least 1,000 penalty yards somewhere in my career. So it's a different game. It's offensive driven. Obviously that sells tickets. That's exciting. We loved what we saw the other day, but you know as well as I do, they'll steer the ship back the other direction if they have to, and it might be getting close.
Yeah. What a pleasure to see you, David. You look fantastic. Continued success as always. Right. You always answer our calls, and not everybody does. I have that effect on some people. Good seeing you, buddy.
All right, man. Take care.
I'll take care. I thought he gave a really honest answer on his brother. That was a great answer.
Very interesting.
Really interesting. Take care of him.